Welcome back to our kitchen. Last week I kind of went through some tips and tricks on making our long grain white rice. This week I want to talk about brown rice. Now I have two methods for cooking brown rice. One is on the back of our bags and the other is our oven baked method, which you can find on our website. But I'm going to go through each and you can decide which one you want to use. Now brown rice takes a little bit longer to cook and it also requires more liquid because the bran layer is left on the rice. That's what gives brown rice its color. Our stovetop method for cooking brown rice is just like cooking white rice, except instead of cooking for 15 minutes, it's going to take about 35. So we'll start by putting in 1 cup of long grain brown rice and 2 1/4 cup of water instead of the 2 cups. It takes a little more liquid to penetrate that bran layer. And then I'm going to add in my salt and butter. 1 teaspoon of salt, a pat of butter. We will stir that and put it on high and bring it to a boil. While we wait for that to come to a boil, I just wanted to talk to you a second about brown rice. Brown rice, like I said, has that bran layer left on it. That layer adds nutrients to the grain and also fiber, which is why brown rice is seen as a healthier alternative to white rice. We still like both in our house, but it does have those few benefits. Another thing about brown rice is a lot of people want to soak brown rice before they cook it. We do not recommend soaking brown rice because that will make it expand and blow up and will make those grains gummy, and you don't want to do that. So our rice has come to a boil. You're going to want to start one time like we did last time. Put your heat to low, the lowest setting, and put that lid on. Again, a tight fitting clear lid is very helpful, especially when cooking brown rice. That lid helps because you're going to monitor to make sure you have all the liquid in there and to see what your cook time will be, because it can vary depending on your altitude and how your stovetop cooks. Our brown rice has now cooked for about 35 minutes. If we look at it, we can see that when I tilt it, the liquid is absorbed. The grains appear to be tender, so I'm going to turn my heat off and I'm going to let it sit and steam with the lid on for 5 to 10 minutes. Again, this step is not essential, but it does make for a better rice dish. So we're going to let that sit and steam. When cooking rice, and especially when cooking brown rice, it's important to know how your stovetop cooks. So I do not like to cook rice on my highest powered burner because then I run the risk of all that liquid boiling out too quickly and the rice will then scorch or stick to the bottom of the pan. I also don't like to do it on my lowest powered burner because then it might take too long to cook. So I always choose a good medium strength burner and make sure that I monitor the heat. I boil on the highest heat setting and then I cook it on the very lowest heat setting. Another thing to know about brown rice is that the texture is going to be different than white rice. You're going to have a little bit of a bite to it. It'll have a slightly chewier texture, and it also has a delicious nutty flavor. The cooking and steaming is now done. I'm going to remove the lid, fluff the grains, and now we are ready to serve. Now I want to show you my oven baked brown rice method. This is my favorite method. It kind of removes some of the variables and I'm able to put everything in a 9x13 dish, put it in the oven and kind of forget about it for an hour while I make everything else for supper. When I cook supper, my stovetop is usually pretty full, and so this helps me kind of remove some of the clutter. Also, this is a great way to cook brown rice for a crowd. I'm doing 3 cups of brown rice, which will make a lot of rice. I like making a big dish of brown rice because it reheats really well, and so I can go ahead and cook a big 9x13 of brown rice earlier in the week and then use it for sides later in the week. This recipe can be found on our website, Oven Baked Brown Rice, and it's also the starting point for our oven baked brown rice saute and our rice pilaf, which is probably my favorite rice dish on our website. That's a tough call, but it is one of my favorites. So I start by putting 3 cups of brown rice in a 9x13 dish, and I've just brought 4 2/3 cup water to a boil. In there is also 4 teaspoons of butter. I began boiling with the lid on so that all that moisture stays in the pot. I'm going to turn that off and remove the lid. Mine's hot, so I'm using a pot holder. And I'm going to put in a 1.25 teaspoons of salt. Then I'm going to take this boiling water and pour it over the brown rice. You can put in a bay leaf if you like. That will add a little bit of an herbal flavor, which is nice. And then here's a really important part. I'm going to cover the dish with 2 layers of aluminum foil. It's really essential to trap in the moisture of that boiling water, and that's what will help cook the rice and penetrate the bran layer. So I'm covering it very, very tightly. Now I'm going to put this dish with the brown rice, the water, boiling water, and the 2 layers of aluminum foil, sealing it well, into the oven. And the oven should be preheated to 375 degrees, and we're going to cook it for 1 hour. I found an assistant. So an hour is up, and we're going to take that rice out of the oven, and we're going to remove the foil. The steam is coming out and it's really hot. We're going to fluff the rice. You see all the liquid is gone. The grains are very tender. And now I'm going to cover it, or my assistant is going to cover it with a dish towel. And we're going to let that sit for 5 minutes. It's been 5 minutes, so now we're going to remove the dish towel and allow it to sit for 5 additional minutes, and then it's ready to serve. Either one of these methods for cooking brown rice is delicious and simple, so just choose the one that you think will work best for you. We'd love to hear how it worked out, so comment or email us and let us know which one you like the best. Carver is now going to taste the brown rice and let us know what he thinks.
It's good.
What do you like about it?
Well, it's mostly almost the same as white rice. It has a different texture and it has a kind of different flavor, and it's nice and buttery. I like both the same.
Would you recommend it to other people?
Mm-hmm.